Available in limited release from MTV Documentary Films and director David Osit is Predators. Now, this has nothing to do with alien bounty hunters that shoot rockets and arrows and lasers and chase down Arnold Schwarzenegger. This is actually a documentary about the long-running NBC Dateline To Catch a Predator TV series and the impact that that had on the people who were involved with making it and on the director, who himself was a survivor of abuse as a kid. So I will say up front that I used to love To Catch a Predator. My friends and I would watch it on Friday night, and we would thrill to see terrible people getting taken down and squirm. And Chris Hansen was like a comedy character who'd, be just stepping out of the shadows and going, "So are you enjoying your sweet tea?" We had a really great time with it. This documentary will make you feel bad for having that attitude, whether rightly or wrongly. It's really good. This documentary has access to a lot of raw footage from the series. It interviews Chris Hansen, and it interviews various people about the aspects of culture isn't the right word, sociopathy, I don't know. It interviews various people about how the show impacted them, how the show did the right or wrong thing in terms of law enforcement, and depicting, at the core of it was the director saying, how do we feel about a show that takes the worst moment in some people's lives and turns that into entertainment? And many would say, these are the worst people, so that's okay to do that. And others see a little bit more humanity in everyone and say, maybe this isn't the best use of the airwaves, is to turn somebody who is, going after kids for nefarious purposes, turning their life into something that should be, something we watch and laugh about. So I kind of go, multiple ways on this. It was a very well-made documentary. I was able to see this with the director in person. It only runs about an hour and a half. It could have been longer as far as I was concerned. It gets into the nitty-gritty of some things. And again, being able to see the raw footage shows a lot more of what really went on in some of these sting operations, including the one that got the show ended, where someone was realizing the net was the noose or the net was closing in on them, and they decided to end their life, not on camera, but while the camera crew was outside their house and the police were closing in. It just questions a lot of the morality of reality TV, which is something in general that I loathe, and what it has led to since then. So it's really, really well done, and it makes you think a lot. It makes you think about the reality behind reality TV, how much of what is presented as reality, or even sometimes with Dateline as news, or an investigation, how much of that is manipulated in the moment for the purposes of being on TV. Like when I used to watch that show, I always thought it was ridiculous that when they would reveal to the Predator that they were on TV, like 5 camera crews would come out that were total overkill. Everybody with the biggest possible shoulder-mounted camera and boom mic from every angle. It was unnatural, but it was done for effect, an overwhelming effect. It makes you question how much of what you saw on that show or anything like that is real. And even in terms of, was law enforcement doing what they were supposed to be doing over the course of dealing with an incident and an individual like that? Or were they doing things a little outside the box so that it would make for better TV? So it's very, very interesting. And as I said, it interviews a lot of the participants, and it's done in multiple chapters where it talks about, the show, the aftermath of the show, and the people now who are like YouTube predator vigilantes who set up their own stings, and for clicks and for ad revenue and for the shine of being on social media, in addition to trying to take bad people down, do these imitations of To Catch a Predator on their own out in the wild, and how they feel about it and what their pasts were. It looks at things. I mean, every documentary has a bias. This one clearly does, but it does look at things from multiple points of view. And the big question the director had said was, he never got the answer that he always had, having been the victim of abuse, which is, why do these people do it? And he always said that's what he always felt was missing from the Dateline series, was they never asked why, or they never got a good answer as to why. So it is, to a degree, the director of this film working his own stuff out, and also looking at this cultural phenomenon that kind of was huge and went away, And, did that leave us all for the better or for the worse? I was very lucky to see this locally at a theater that had, as I said, the director in person to do a Q&A after the film. During that Q&A, someone raised their hand and pointed out or let everybody in the room know that he actually worked on that show for a long period of time. He was on the crew of To Catch a Predator, and he was actually there, not on the location that it happened, but he was with the crew in Texas when that incident happened that ended the series. And he gave us a lot of very interesting information that some of which was in the documentary, some of which wasn't, that the documentarian probably didn't even know, that was very, very fascinating to the whole thing. So highly recommend this. It is not a film you're going to walk out of smiling. I would have a comedy queued up after this, but very much worth watching. Predators.